First of all, thank you so much for taking your time to be here. We're looking forward to sharing a lot of the exciting momentum that we have going. And of course, as you heard at the keynote, we're entering the era of the agentic enterprise, and we're pretty excited to share some of the work we're doing there, and more importantly, the work we're doing alongside all of you as well, etc. So my name is Satish Thomas. I have the privilege of leading our team at Google that involves the marketplaces, the work we do with partners, and our engineering team that works very closely with partners to co-innovate and build amazing agents that we bring to life via Gemini Enterprise and otherwise on behalf of our customers, all of you. So with that, we are entering the agentic enterprise era, and it's here. So the most fun part about all of this is we're doing it alongside all of you, right? And it's happening today. It is happening across every region. It is happening across every industry. It is happening across every business process and every function. So that's essentially, the gist of it. And one of the things is, as you build this, go on this journey around transforming towards this new agentic world, one of the most important things is the foundation. So this is where we're super, happy to have like a comprehensive foundation across each level of the stack. And this is, one of the fun things I love to say is, when your foundation is comprehensive, you'll never fall off a cliff or you'll never run out of gas. So you can use things out of the box, or you can make it your own as much as possible, and you can do it at every layer of the stack across infrastructure, data, the models, the platform, and of course the agents and apps. And it's one thing to have it, it's another thing for it to be adopted. So this is where there's some very cool stats. Of course, 9 out of 10 of the labs, of the AI labs out there, use Google Cloud in some form. And of course, a lot of the top SaaS ISVs and companies around the world and startups use the Google Cloud as well. And one very important piece about all of this is the foundation here is the same foundation we use for the consumer services that you may be familiar with. So over 5 trillion searches happen on Google Search. So a lot of that foundational pieces are the same things that you get to leverage as we go on this journey together. So this one is one thing where it's a critical part on top of which we build together this agentic future. Now, momentum is a beautiful thing when you have it, and us collectively have a lot of it today. So just to give you a little bit of, just in terms of scale of what we're seeing. So if you look at it, there's 3 numbers. I'll take guesses of if anybody can figure out what those numbers are. Maybe not. So the first thing is just the transaction value that we're seeing on the marketplace. So this is almost a signal for how much value our customers are seeing with their agents and the other solutions on the marketplace. So whichever industry you're in, even if you're in the guts of the AI industry, this is pretty impressive growth. So that's, again, there's a lot of demand and there's a lot of already adoption of a lot of these agents. So 18x, if you do the math, from a percentage perspective is 1,700%, which is pretty cool to see. And this is one that keeps accelerating. By the way, this is a little bit 1 quarter old because obviously, this is what we're talking about publicly. The second thing is the backlog. So if you look at, again, this is the opportunity that a lot of customers, the spend that customers have with us that is leverageable for these agents that you have via marketplace and to be able to adopt it. Again, huge numbers and huge delta from what we just reported just in the last quarter. But again, this is what we shared in the last quarter. But again, tremendous growth. But most importantly, there's millions of users using Gemini Enterprise today, growing at a very fast clip. So all of that becomes a front door for us to be able to light this up on behalf of our customers. Now, there's 3 things that we will cover today. One, I'll frame it up here. And then second, we're going to talk about some real examples. So we'll have a panel with Mars, with S&P Global and Workday, so that you can hear directly how they're going through this journey, because we're all figuring this out together. And I think that's where there has to be very high bandwidth learning. So really looking forward to that panel as well. And the third piece that you're going to see is real demos of how you can actually go discover these agents, deploy them, and use them. This is one place that we're spending a lot of effort, engineering and otherwise, to make sure that that experience becomes very seamless and as frictionless as possible. So I'm really looking forward to all of you seeing that demo. But I'll end where I started, where we collectively are building just ecosystem of agents across industry, function, and business process, and in every region, right? So this is where today we announced a lot of agents. Hopefully, a lot of you get to use it. How many people here have used Gemini or Gemini Enterprise in some form? Perfect. How many people have actually used an agent in their daily workflow? Perfect. And one, which is very close to my heart, out of all the agents that you saw in the keynote, and you'll see more over the week, how many of you are going to try at least one of those once you get back home or maybe even on the flight? Perfect. That's the thing. And again, all of us are pretty excited about what's there, but there's more. Your feedback is very important as we kind of go there. So that's essentially it. So again, you'll hear from the panel, you'll hear the demos, but I cannot wait to see what we all build together. And this is where we're in it together. So if you have feedback, if there's things that you like to see more of, push us. And that's the journey that I think we'll all go on together as part of this agentic future. So with that, I'll hand over to my friend and colleague, Dai, who will lead the panel, and then you'll see the demo from Pritish as well. So take it away, Dai and team.
Thank you, Satish. All right.
Okay, we got this right.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So as Satish mentioned, I'm Dai. I'm the business leader at Google Cloud for Marketplace, and very excited to be facilitating this distinguished panel. So what I'd like to do is maybe just to start off, have each of the panelists just introduce themselves, their company, their role, and then maybe just briefly describe where they are in terms of their journey of the agentic enterprise, and then more specifically how they approach agents between custom agents versus prepackaged agents from vendors. That would be very helpful. So, and then in the case of Mark, since he's at Workday, think about like ecosystem versus first-party agents would be interesting. So Mark.
Yeah. Multifaceted question,
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. Way to start.
Yeah.
So Mark David, I'm responsible for our cloud, agentic, and industry partnerships at Workday. If you're not familiar with Workday, we're the leading enterprise for people, money, and agents. We're also redefining the ERP landscape as we look at orchestrating business processes, workflows, and agentic interactions. So we really have a vision of workers and agents sitting side by side to have tangible business outcomes. So we do have a set of first-party agents at Workday, and these first-party agents go through a process. At Workday, we have a very rigorous risk process, and we have agents across payroll and compensation and HR and procurement and finance, a lot of really important parts of your business. So those first-party agents will continue to develop and measure those agents over time. But the ecosystem is also very important for us. We're really excited about the demo we have today that we're going to show. I'm not going to try to steal anyone's thunder here, but this will be Gemini Enterprise with one of our agents, the self-service agent, through an agent-to-agent connection, right? So if you think about how we're engaging with our partners, that agent-to-agent connectivity is very, very important. But outside of that, right, and it's not just us as Workday, but any vendor, you want to make sure that third-party agents are connecting into the proper and purpose-built agentic endpoints or gateways, if you will, right? So we do have partners and customers integrating agents into these endpoints, and we're developing this ecosystem of third parties, including, and I think even really starting with Google.
Yep, very exciting, Mark. Shubham, and in fact, you guys had a very exciting press release today, so
Yes.
you just mentioned that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Shubham Mehrish, I'm the Chief AI and Technology Officer at Mars. If you don't know Mars, we are over 100 years old, probably one of the largest private enterprises in the US, the biggest snacking and the biggest pet care company in the world. Do go and visit our booth downstairs. Thank you to the Google team for producing that, and it's fantastic, what you guys have done with us, so thanks for that. So Mars has been on an agentic journey, believe it or not. As a CPG firm, you might be surprised, but for the last 18 months, 18 plus months, and we have some of our team members here that you can chat with after this. But so we've been early in on the agentic roadmap, if you will. Obviously started like many other CPGs with marketing use cases, e-commerce, and those kind of use cases, but then now have expanded into commercial, supply chain, HR, with you guys. Come on, get going soon. But
we have them.
I mean, and so yeah, we're getting there. But what we have done, and we have our architecture team here as well, we've done something very interesting in my view. I'm very proud of what we have architected in terms of the hub and spoke architecture that we have built for an agentic world. Google is the hub. Gemini Enterprise is our agentic control plane, and that's the announcement that you were alluding to. So over 62,000 licenses. I mean, this is all public. We're probably, Walmart is 1 million licenses, but we're probably the second largest in CPG and retail for you guys at this moment. But really excited with what our associates will do with the Gemini footprint. In terms of third-party marketplace, I mean, this is still new, but I counted, in the previous slides that Satish had, of the partners that you had listed, we actually already work with 9 of those partners, believe it or not. And so as they get ready for the marketplace, we will be ready behind them. But my expectation is for companies of our scale and complexity, I think we will probably need a systems integrator to help integrate those marketplace agents into our workflow. And I'm hoping that these are not one-off agents. We can integrate them with end-to-end workflow. So we have that as a focus as well. We can talk about later, but that's the strategy there.
Okay, very exciting. Guru.
Everybody, good afternoon. Guru from S&P Global. Glad to see that we are first on the marketplace. Pretty exciting day, exciting start for us. That clearly says we are at the forefront of AI. Similar to what Shubham said, our journey of AI can be simply articulated before Google, after Google. Very, very straightforward, right? We started up 2 years ago when the whole AI evolution started building wrappers, much like every enterprise built wrappers. We call it as Sparks. Thousands of step agents were built in. But after Google was the first Gemini Enterprise platform grounded on data, grounded on security. People trusted it right from day one. So today we have about thousands of people in S&P Global using Gemini, building workflows, building connections, and building things. I'll give you a little bit of background into our journey. We signed our Gemini partnership Thanksgiving last year. We launched our Notebook LM on January 5th, and we launched our Gemini Enterprise on March 30th. We today have about 7,000 people in S&P Global using Gemini. Over 5,000 video podcasts gets generated, thousands of audio podcasts gets generated. A simple day in life of an analyst dealing with incident management processes have changed. They don't have to write significant pages of root cause summaries, all of that. It all has translated into listening podcasts that has made the life of various IT employees, analysts, business stakeholder so easy. Now that we have set up a Gemini Enterprise factory model, what that means is the reason we set up a factory model is we want one function building common set of connectors. We today have about 7 to 8 connectors. We're also building a lot of custom connector. S&P Global is a data company. We built a lot of our own MCPs. We were able to bring our MCPs as agents on top of the platform, share the data with our users so that our analysts can get access to data, earnings, insights, energy data, etc. at real time. We continue to expand with the new launches today. We are even more excited to increase our speed of bringing more connectors, bringing more user experience on top of it.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So one topic I want to cover next is as agents become more pervasive in your organization, and the ability to sort of bring in new agents and then also custom build agents. It's getting easier and easier. You see some of the sort of the low-code technology that's available. How do you think about having your users find the right agent, understand what's available across custom agents as well as what's available on Marketplace. How do you think about being able to leverage some technologies like agent registry of agent platform and Marketplace as a way to sort of guide the users on what agents to use? So maybe, Shubham, maybe I'll start with you.
Yeah, no, as I mentioned, I mean, we have this hub and spoke architecture that we have put in place, and Google is our agentic control plane. And so the thinking is that we will build agents on individual build surfaces and platforms, but when it comes to an enterprise class agent, we want people to register them on the agent registry from Google. And the idea is to have observability governance across the board, especially if it goes beyond a personal agent to an enterprise agent. We are also starting to put together a certification program for people that want to build agents, both for no code, but also high code agents, largely for our technical folks. And so that's something that we are just incepting. So again, we are trying to figure this out as well, like many others, but that's the going in model, if you will. But I'm fully expecting our SaaS partners to expose their own agents through the marketplace or otherwise, and we leverage those. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Guru, maybe with your point of view.
Agent registry was a hot topic for us until this Friday. We were practically researching the entire market, who can be a better registry for us, and cannot be a better news today to see Google is bringing their registry, which is number one. I want to kind of double click on the point Shubham talked about training, particularly, as people are moving from traditional basic agent to building workflows and building connectors. Part of the partnership that we did with Google, and I want to give a shout out to our account team, Tim, Ilya, and a few of them here. They were able to bring the best training partner on board. We were able to build that 1 year long training curriculum for different personas. We today have training built for business professionals, IT professionals, developers, and even to the executives. So the training plan for the business professionals have already been rolled out. People are attending it. And these are custom-based training based on S&P Global's persona, based on our data, based on our use cases. And training partners are helping us with Google's help and our help to design and deliver the program across various regions. Our goal is to get the training delivered globally to 45,000 employees so that all of them can independently build agents and independently deliver more on it. And what we are expanding from there onwards is, as we are building this broader Gemini Enterprise portfolio, we do have business units. For every business unit, we are giving them their version of Gemini Enterprise so that they don't have to wait for IT team to open the doors. They have their own controlled Gemini Enterprise environment. Build your stuff at your own pace and speed. As things come to prod, they can come to one common unified production instance so that exchange of agents, sharing of agents is consistent. But the maturity into the registry, into the identity, into the security is very much needed.
Okay, that's awesome. Mark, your point of view.
Yeah, and so I think there's a couple things here. One is that we want to expose agentic capabilities in the flow of work. I think that's really important, right? So as a solution provider, we obviously have our experience, but users are working in a variety of different enterprise experience layers, including Gemini Enterprise, right? So that has to be exposed and it has to be available there. And so when you look at like what you saw today in your keynote where you're exposing out these agents from your partners, I think that's very critical just in the accessibility. It's not just into the IT department or the business analyst department, it's now towards more of the end user, right, as you say. So that's a key, like from an access perspective. If we look at the agents themselves and how they're operating across the organization, totally agree that the registration process is very important. We look at agents as digital employees, right? And so digital employees need to be registered, you need to manage them, and you need to look at performance of these agents, make sure that what the actions that they're doing is the expected outcome, right? And that they have a certain level of organizational responsibility and security as well too. So that needs to be identified when you're putting them into a registration process. and also even into our system, our Workday registration process. So I think those are two key aspects to this. It's just like where are users like accessing the agents? How are they engaging with them? And then the agents themselves, right? Like once they access those, do they have the appropriate permissions and guide rails, if you will, and they're registered appropriately?
Yeah, yeah. I like your analogy to the digital workforce, because I think as agents, the initial set of agents will be, a lot of them will be sort of like very focused or single task agents. But if the goal is to have agents manage or automate like an end-to-end workflow, they'll need to work together and have them sort of orchestrate that workflow. When you think about the role that Google Cloud and Agent Platform plays in terms of how you sort of manage that, what are your thoughts of the role there? Maybe Shubham, start with you.
Yeah, I mean, so again, can you repeat your question?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you think,
I thought I already said that.
Yeah. So
I
a lot of these single task agents, right? Like they could add a lot of value that are going to be very narrow, but a lot of the value, especially if you want to sort of automate these end-to-end workflows, need to sort of be orchestrated and work together. And how do you see the role of Google Cloud and even some of the things we announced today with Agent Platform in enabling that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Google Cloud is central to our strategy in that sense. So, but let me give you a few examples. So, I fundamentally believe that yes, you will have this initial wave of single-use agents, you know, single-purpose agents, but I think that that's barely scratching the surface of what this thing is capable of, right? And so, there are two mental models that I tell my teams. One is, you think about a job persona and what would it take to completely digitize that persona. So that's one mental model. The second mental model is an end-to-end process mental model. So the persona mental model is a little more complex, and I think we are still a few years away from taking full personas, an assistant brand manager and completely digitizing that as a digital worker, for example. But on the end-to-end process side, we do have a lot of current pilots going on and some even scaling. So one example from our snacking team is for e-commerce. So we have an agent that's always listening on Amazon, looking at our PDP pages, scraping, figuring out where there's an anomaly, where the SEO is off or the AEO is off, pushing it into a complete end-to-end workflow. And that end-to-end workflow is legal approvals, regulatory approvals, brand approvals, generating content, of course, as well, and then pushing it into our syndication engine for the complete closed loop, right? And so that is the level of complexity that I expect Google to help us with, both in terms of ideation, but also orchestrating and managing it. So that's the concept going in. But I think in a couple of years, we'll start seeing full job persona agents as well, where it's handling not just the workflow, but all the workflows within that persona.
Yeah, definitely. So Mark, we'd love to get your take on this, especially in some of the business functions that you cover. You own a lot of these end-to-end workflows. And so what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think it's a really interesting conversation, and I really like the approach that you laid out as well too. And let me just take an example. So let's just take a recruiting workflow, which is basically source to hire, right? You're a hiring manager, you got a role, you got to get a lot of people through the process. You might have a long process. Some of that might be AI or not AI. And if you put an agent on the front end, the agent can effectively source the volume of good candidates for you, right? Match those candidates, get that into the process. But if you have disconnected processes behind that, like let's say is the hiring manager or the scheduling or the recruiter, and you're looking at the KPI, and the KPI was, well, let's shorten the time to source these candidates and hire these candidates. You might not be achieving the result that you want to achieve, right? So I think looking and orchestrating the full business process has a couple of things. One, it reduces system friction, like the process friction as you go through that. You can't just put automation in a part of it and expect the full process to be benefiting from that. The second aspect too, and we touched on this on the previous question, is there's a governance aspect here, especially with agents. And with the data that comes along with it and the telemetry and everything else, right? And so you might be able to effectively measure a part of that process very effectively with the agent, but the other still might be semi-automated, and you kind of lose some of that governance, if you will, in the process. So just, you need to be thoughtful on that. And then finally, it's the KPIs, again, like I talked about. Like for us, if I'm a CHRO and your mission was to go shrink the sourcing, recruiting cycle times, and you're not doing that, and you've had all these agents in the mix, are you really looking at the full holistic, the KPI you're trying to achieve and how you're applying this technology? And then just finally, like, I totally get it. Like, there are processes and sub-processes where an agent can come in on high transactions, high documents, and be very effective that take out costs and increase operational efficiency. But I think everyone sort of discounts the end-to-end process in that.
It's great perspective. Guru, how are you approaching this?
Few personas, and then I'll also touch upon a couple of aspects as well. Today, with Gemini Enterprise, our legal team doesn't have to sit on listening 6 hours congressional updates. They can just throw it on Gemini, take notes, give me insights what's going on. People can still go do the other work, not watching what's happening every hour, right? Our analysts don't have to listen to every single earnings call. We have an ability to automatically collect all the earnings updates, synthesize, and then produce market updates about what's going on. Our IT colleagues are able to build agents, connect the dots, whether it is people dealing with systems, IT, all of them are able to build all of that. Our HR colleagues are able to build, much like in partnership with Workday. Workday is one of our connection into Gemini, and they're able to bring onboarding to day-to-day life cycle, having a conversation with a manager, having a conversation about your performance, having a conversation about your upcoming goals. All of these are getting built. Our marketing people are able to prepare for client meetings more effectively, and when much before they are in front of a client, they know what's going on. And what's fascinating that's happening over the last 48 hours, speaking to some of my internal people who are working in Gemini, is in S&P Global, we use multi-cloud. We use AWS, we use Azure, we use GCP. We give our employees the flexibility to figure out, you can build agents in whatever cloud you need, whatever framework you need. The fascinating about Google is we are able to wrap up whatever the framework of choice into A2A, bring them as MCP into the Google. That's the power only Google has, right? Today we have in S&P Global, we have our apps in AWS, users in Azure, data in Google. We are able to seamlessly connect all of this using A2A, and we are even publishing blueprints and Python packages for frameworks such as LangChain, LangGraph, and Crew, all of this, making it available to the technology colleagues. Take it, package it, bring it as A2A, and bring more MCPs so that all of this can be interlinked. So ability to use, much like Shubham shared, Google as our control plane, leave your agents downstream, bring your MCP to the upstream, makes our control plane seamless for us.
Yeah, definitely. So maybe the last topic I want to cover here, because you all touched on it, is this whole topic of security, trust, and governance. So when we think about it, as you think about sort of like a holistic approach before you scale up significantly in your organization, how do you think about making sure that these things are in place as you scale? So Guru, maybe start with you.
It is always hard to convince security on such AI technologies. But I'll say, when I took the Gemini Enterprise for a security review, they just loved it for 2 reasons. Number 1, data is brought into Gemini at user discretion. You're not scanning for data. You're not scanning my C drive. You're not scanning my computer. You're not scanning my cloud, constantly indexing my data. That's a significant differentiator when a security team saw this through their eyes. Users have their own discretion to decide what to bring into the Google. That really changed the whole landscape of it, right? And second part of it is the model armor. Ability to have the model armor bolted into every single interaction also created more trust with our users, right? We were able to clearly demonstrate to our business CTOs, to our security teams, to our IT, all of your interactions are secure, governed, managed more effectively. To a fact, we even showed the telemetry of what's happening in the model armor, what we can stop, what we can allow, how we can govern. So the trust vector of Google really positioned us well to open up to 8,000 people in less than 60 days.
Yeah, absolutely. Shubham, how about you?
So I did something really smart, if I were to say so. I sent our CISO to one of their data centers, one of the Google data centers for a visit, and so that was it then. He approved the the security risk there. And I asked him, are you sure? He was like, you think I'm a moron or what? I won't approve after the data center visit. But no, but you've touched upon the points in terms of what we are also really, really happy about. Model Armor being one of them. But it's still a lot of education. The whole agentic mindset requires a lot of education, legal, privacy, security, et cetera. So I would say that we're still not all the way there yet.
Yep.
And I think the best way to convince people is to have them use it.
Yeah.
And so as we kind of increase our adoption rates with these teams, my expectation is that people will get more familiar with the features that Google provides us. But we are very happy with the choices that we've made. And like you said, the hub and spoke architecture in our case as well helps us manage everything in a common plane. So
that's great. Mark.
Yeah, maybe I can take it from more of a package agentic solution perspective, because I know there's a lot of development happening, and so if you're going to evaluate an agent, right, from a provider, let me discuss a little bit of our journey, and I think it's a best or better practice, as far as it goes, for responsible AI. So in 2019, we decided to create a framework for responsible AI, and this was before really Gen AI coming into the market. Before you had these EU AI mandates. And so we really wanted to make sure that it was systemic in the product development process. One of the first things we did, we created a chief responsible AI officer. That chief responsible AI officer actually has its own separate reporting line, and it has they have a say in the agents that we launch as well too. So I think that's really important. And then there's various risk management frameworks. So if you're looking at package agents, and you should be digging into this, and I'm sure your InfoSec team will be digging into this, that we, in terms of the design, development, QA, and launch, we leverage that risk framework throughout the process. And so the other key thing here is there are independent standards and bodies. And so as a solution provider too, we need to engage with them, right? That's ISO, that's IEC, that's NIST, AI, RMF frameworks. And that needs to be part of the story too. Are you keeping up with that? Now that doesn't cover everything, right? But at least people are doing the work they need to do to bring that responsible AI framework into the products that they're bringing to market, right? So I think it's on all the customers to evaluate those sets of criteria as they go through it. We just hope that you do it quickly so that we can actually get to the end result. Yep.
Okay. All right, really appreciate the panel's insight, but we covered a lot of great topics here. We talked about discovery of agents, we talked about orchestration, we talked about trust and governance, but what I'd like to do now is invite Pritish Sinha on stage and talk through and demo some of these capabilities.
Yeah, thanks, Dai. Okay. So we talked about the vision. Now let's look under the hood. The era of agentic enterprise is about putting specialized AI agents to work. So let's see how we can convert that theory into reality. So I'm Pritish Sinha. I'm the product manager for Agent Marketplace. And today I'll show you how Agent Marketplace acts as an enabler to the agentic enterprises. Before we dive in, let's connect the dots. We saw 3 challenges being discussed here. First, like how Agent Marketplace can deliver value by serving as the storefront to discover and deploy specialized agents. Second, about trust, how Agent Marketplace can be the absolute governance layer that can help you keep your data and users secure. And finally, scale, how Marketplace acts as the global launchpad for our partners to monetize their AI innovations. Today, I will show you how Marketplace unites these 3 dimensions. So the core value prop in enterprises is about delivering specialized outcomes. And to amplify delivering those specialized outcomes, agentic enterprises puts world-class AI agents into their employees' hands. In an agentic enterprise, there are 3 complementary layers. You could use Google-built agent for your everyday tasks, or you can build your own agent using Gemini Enterprise Agent platform. But the real scale happens with partner-built agents.
These agents bring specialized and enterprise-grade AI innovations instantly in your workflows. Your employees can orchestrate across all 3 layers to drive outcomes faster than ever before. And with Agent Marketplace, your employees can discover these agents, request access in a governed way, get these agents deployed, and measure value instantly. So let's start with agent discovery. Today, at Keynote, Thomas announced that several top partners are now offering AI agents on Marketplace. In fact, as of this morning, there are 85 agents from our partners that you could go and start using right away. And this number is increasing every day. These partner-built agents bring the best of functional, industry, and business process AI expertise directly in your workflows. Marketplace offers a highly curated set of agents for customers to use. And today, we are also introducing AI mode on Marketplace that makes discovery conversational, allowing users to describe a business problem and, based on their intent, suggest the right agents. Users can also look at ratings and reviews, see validation badges, and with Agent Marketplace, you have the breadth and depth of choices of agents and an easy way to search and discover them. So Gemini Enterprise is your front door for AI at workplace. This is where your business user interacts with AI agents in a single governed interface. It's important that users can find, use, and request the right agents at the right time. Hence, we are bringing Marketplace even closer to users. Today, we are excited to announce that Agent Marketplace is launching right within Gemini Enterprise. Here, you are seeing the new Marketplace section inside the Gemini Enterprise Agent Gallery. All partner-built agents from Agent Marketplace are now available here. Starting today, you can discover, request purchase, deploy, and start using all of these agents right from Gemini Enterprise. Marketplace agents turn Gemini Enterprise into a command center for world-class AI expertise. Now let's put some of these AI experts into work. The S&P Global Data Retrieval Agent helps drive detailed analysis, searching across S&P Global's AI-ready datasets to identify and return right information with citations. Let's consider a scenario. James, who is an equity analyst, needs a comprehensive deep dive on Deere & Company. This needs to be fully grounded in trusted and accurate financial data. There is a lag in the video, 1 sec.
It was so fast that it finished everything.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you. All right. So James would go to the S&P Global agent in Gemini Enterprise and ask it to create an equity analysis report on Deere & Company. The agent kicks off deep research to create the report. And while the report is being built, James can go back and ask agent about Deere's top competitors. And then they will get back details about their competitor. And now James can ask the agent to compare key financial metrics for peer benchmarking. And then James asks the agent to summarize the outlook from recent earnings call. Each of these answers are grounded with citations to S&P Global's data sources. Meanwhile, the deep research report is ready for James to review, having structured sections with citations and a summary table and a report that James can download for detailed analysis.
It's a cool report.
So next, let's pivot to our HR expert, the Workday's Sinha agent. With over 300 specialized skills across pay, time, and absence, Sinha doesn't just answer questions, it handles everyday HR tasks on your behalf.
Be on the other screen.
Okay, the same issue, one sec. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to use that screen.
Thank you. So Alex goes to Gemini Enterprise app and opens the Sinha agent from Workday. And Alex wants to handle his parental leave request. So he would let the agent know that he's going to have a baby soon. The agent instantly understands the intent and summarizes the parental leave policy. Alex can also reference the HR policy sources on the side panel. The agent continues the flow and asks if Alex wants to submit a time-off request. Alex is provided with the form. Alex confirms the dates and then submits the form. It goes to Logan, Alex's manager, for approval. And as a follow-up, the agent is asking if it can send an email, coverage email, outlining the coverage plan to his team. The agent then crafts the email for to be sent to his teammates. And then the email is sent. So getting these specialized agents in hands of your employees is powerful. But a lot of IT leaders in the room and the discussion we had around security was, how do I control this thing? Speed cannot come at the expense of safety and governance. So let's look at the trust and governance layer that makes this truly enterprise grade. It starts with agent procurement. All marketplace agents goes through extensive vetting process, procurement validations, and follow a well-defined onboarding standard. You can further vet these third-party agents, ensuring they meet your compliance and security standards. You can dive into all details about the agent, such as pricing plans, features, validation badges, terms of use. Procurement admins can then buy these agents instantly, work with the reseller, or negotiate a private offer with an ISV. Next, agent configuration. Once the agent is procured, admins set it up for employees to use them. Admins can securely register a procured marketplace agent by setting authentication and identity details. This creates a private and secure handshake between the partner's agent and your enterprise environment, ensuring your data and users are protected at every step. Admins have total visibility into employees' request for agents. They can approve access to existing agents, or they can deny with a reason, or they can trigger a marketplace purchase flow with their procurement teams. And finally, agent governance. This is about having complete oversight of your entire agentic ecosystem. The Gemini Enterprise agent platform is your governance backbone, a single pane of glass for your entire agent ecosystem. Here, you have a centralized registry of all your agents, and you manage the complete life cycle of every agent, whether you have built internally or procured via the marketplace. You have full insight into identities, versions, runtime locations, while ensuring global security policies through a centralized gateway. This is total compliance, a unified audit trail of every agent, ensuring your enterprise remains secure at large. Now switching gears, a call out to all the agent builders and innovators in the room. You see the demand, you see the platform. Now let's discuss how you can join the movement to build, distribute, and monetize agents through Google Cloud. By publishing your agents on Marketplace, you instantly make your agents available to millions of customers who can start discovering, procuring, and using these agents right away. Publishing is a 4-step flywheel. You build using Gemini Enterprise Agent Platform and popular frameworks such as ADK and protocols such as A2A and MCP. You deploy your agent on managed GCP infrastructure. You publish to Marketplace. And finally, you monetize your agent using our flexible commercial models. Customers can procure and use these agents right away. We have built the rails, you bring the innovation, and customer gets instant value. With that, I'll request Dai to close this off.
Absolutely. So let me just close by circling back to some of the key points that Satish made at the beginning of the presentation, which is that we believe the agentic enterprise will impact every single industry and every single business function. And we're working hard to develop the largest ecosystem of agents across all these areas. And through a combination of Marketplace and Gemini Enterprise, we provide all the capabilities around search, discovery, orchestration, security, and governance to support you wherever you are in the agentic enterprise journey. So with that, let's wrap up. I want to thank the panel for their valuable insights, and Pritish, thank you for the valuable demo. Thank you.